Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me. tmosso@thewatchbox.com is still my email address. It is still in the description below. It remains your purchase and pricing email question line for inquiring about the price of this or any watch you see on this channel. That is tmosso@thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing. Now, a couple of foregoing notes. First, my company owns Bethune, and I love the brand deeply, so this watch is not actually for sale. It is a demonstration of the new for 2023 and soon to be delivered DB28XS Starry Seas. So if you're interested, reach out to me, but this one is not for sale. So available, just not the one I'm holding. Okay, jumping back to the watch. What you can see here is that this is the answer to a lot of people's prayers. A smaller, more wearable DB28 that doesn't look so stridently and some might even say brashly avant-garde from the dial side. Here we have a random guilloche Starry Seas dial, but I'm getting ahead of myself. A big attraction here, under 39 millimeters in grade 5 titanium. So this is 38.7 millimeters in diameter, 9 millimeters thick as I measure it. From lug tip to lug tip, we've got the variable geometry spring-loaded floating lugs. So when fully compressed, lug to lug is 44.8 millimeters. When fully extended, 48.9, and kind of a quirky, idiosyncratic 23 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Being mostly sapphire and titanium, the watch is really, really light, almost toy-like, almost paper-like, and paper-thin. You could see, well, the DB28's never been a thick watch. This is one of the thinnest I've ever encountered. It will slide underneath any sleeve. With these lugs, especially given the flexibility, I can recommend this DB28 for once, for him and for her. So wrists as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference should apply. Again, my wrist is 16, and you're going to find this is a very comfortable fit, especially as the strap breaks in and becomes more flexible. Taking a look at the strap, you can see it is textile on the top, blue, light blue to match the dial. It has a leather gusset sewn in a sort of cyan or sky blue to prevent gouging. It has a little bit of bolstering to give it thickness, a monotone stitch, a folded edge, and then on the back it's calfskin. No crimping, no gouging. This is what these straps look like when they're new. It is a Bethune factory strap. We like Jean Rousseau, which is the OEM supplier to Bethune, as well as FP Journe. So when we do straps on these, we go through Jean Rousseau. And you can see that there's a pull tab spring bar here, so you can pop the strap off the case without tools. We have a buckle that is titanium, and actually a little bit more like the buckle previously included with the DB25. Very simple, satinated on the bottom, Bethune branded, and polished on the top. Rolling back to the watch, you can see that we have cabochon or ogival tips on the lugs. This is the last styling vestige of the original DB1 chronograph of 2002. That was the first product of the company. A lot has changed since then, but these little bullet tip lugs, with the exception of the DB20 series and some of the Dream watches, these have always been a feature of Bethune design. Floating lugs, you can see that they're open, airy, evacuated, so ergonomically an outstanding design, patented. They first appeared in 2008 on the DB26 perpetual calendar, and a lot of folks think that if you're going to get a Bethune, this is really what sets a Bethune apart. It's this lug profile. The case is unique to the model. It's not just a smaller DB28. You will only find this case on the XS. There is also an XP, which is the ultra-thin. XS is the smaller case. We have a double knurled crown that's polished outboard, and then satin around its profile, unbranded in historical style. Denis Flageolet, who is the watchmaking co-founder of Bethune, respects history above all. He loves the monoblock case look. And that's what we get here. You can see that the bezel and the case are all one piece, so it's a back loader. Everything loads through the back. This creates a very seamless look when viewed from the front. The bezel top is flat, although you can see it extends and it grows wider at 6 o'clock and also at 12 o'clock, and then it thins out and flattens out at the mid case. Now we have a silvered track outboard with a little bit of a toroidal profile and then a camber up and over the top, so it's actually curved from inside to out. We have radially arrayed blue printed features, including Arabic numerals, and this is a solid dial. A lot of folks asked for a DB28 with a solid dial. Can you give us a solid dial? Can you give us conventional numerals? Can you make it more intuitive to tell time? Can you give us something that's almost a fusion of the dial styles of the DB25 with the case design and movement design of the 28? And that's how we get here. So we have hands in polished titanium, cases, dials, hands, and movements made in-house at Bethune to control quality and also to ensure that production runs of sometimes less than a dozen are economically feasible, because suppliers don't want to hear about that. So to make small runs, make everything in-house. The dial is a random guilloche, so from example to example, the cut will actually be different. The dial scatter, these little white gold cabochons representing the reflection of the stars in the sea, those can actually be customized to represent a location, any location on any date, such as, for example, the hospital over the, or I should say the stars over the hospital, and the hospital over the crib of your child on the night your child was born, or maybe your birthday, and the location. By default, if you don't specify, the star scatter is going to be the stars over L'Auberson, the hometown of Bethune, on the night in 2002 it was founded. And you can see these are little globes on the end of dowels. So they are three-dimensional blocks of gold that are inserted into drillings in the dial, and you can see how the wave pattern was achieved by reductive guilloche, and then it is a titanium dial. So Bethune used its proprietary titanium bluing method to create the shading, which is very attractive. And present on both sides. As you can see, both the center bridge anchoring the shock protection system and the balance, they are fired blue titanium. So this is where you get all of the action you would expect of a DB28. Water resistant down to 30 meters. There's one question a lot of people are going to ask, which is this crown also a push-down crown? And the answer on this model is actually no. It is not a push-down crown. You can lift it and you can make adjustments without screwing it down. 30 meters water resistant, 6 days of power reserve, manual wind, patented self-adjusting barrels with a slipping mainspring in one, so you cannot accidentally overwind it. We have the patented triple parachute shock protection system with 1, 2, 3 shock protection springs. It is there to preserve the balance staff pivot, so for durability, and we've subjected it to pro sports, including tennis, so we know it works. But it also more rapidly recenters the balance staff pivot in its pivot jewel to resume accurate timekeeping after a shock. So it's there for durability, but also chronometry. 4 hertz beat rate. No tricks are played with the beat rate to get that 6-day power reserve, and all of this pivots on 27 joules. Now, the balance is a titanium wheel with white gold masses. This is the 10th balance wheel patented by Denis Flageolet, and he always creates a new design when he feels like he can improve on his goal of reducing the effects of aerodynamic drag on timing, of temperature change on timing, and maximizing the percentage of total mass in the rim. And again, he redesigns the balance every time he has a new idea. The balances are made in-house because no supplier would deal with such a flippant rotation through balance designs. The hairspring, if you look very carefully, you can see that the inner coils are more concentric and the outermost curve is irregular, almost like a dog leg. Then if you look to the right of the balance staff pivot, you can see the clamp where that inner curve and the outer curve are clamped together. And the idea is that this is a patented design shaped by hand at Bethune and clamped together. It prevents irregularities in the distribution of mass of the hairspring. So it has a very centered mass through 360 degrees. So it breathes concentrically like an overcoil, but it is shock resistant and flat like a flat hairspring. Finally, there is a silicone escape wheel that reduces friction and the need for lubrication. Okay, finish. You could see that there is a steel barrel bridge cap that has been incredibly mirror polished. There are some fingerprints here, but they're on the case back crystal. This is incredibly hard to do. Even a Patek Philippe or a Vacheron will only give you black polished screws. With Bethune, you get acres of black polish, and it is flawless. You also get it on surfaces that are difficult to evenly polish, like this continuously rounded and black polished balance bridge. Grubel 4C does this on its most expensive models. Here, coming out of the gate, on a standard DB28. You can also see that the shock protection springs, they've been mirror polished on their tops, and then even though their edges are narrow, they've been beveled on their edges. The same has been lavished on the center of the bridge. Deeply impressive stuff and very hard to do. There is micro-light reductive engraving, a more modern take on guilloche. I don't think a rosette breguet style would really belong here, so Denis created micro-light so he could have guilloche but still look modern. And you can see it radiates out from the balance like ripples in a stream. We have solarization on both barrels. And actually, if you get very close to this ratchet wheel, you'll be able to see that its teeth have been micro-beveled. Again, this is Grubel 4C and Lang und Heine level stuff. Also important to note, we have massive anglage on the edge of both the barrel bridge cap and the barrel bridge below that. So not one, but two mirror polished radiused edges, and then reamed and interior polished jewel sinks. Your cup runneth over with this watch technically and aesthetically. Reach out to me. I am Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details. I know some of you will want to see the machine in action. I wanted you to be able to see the balance and the hairspring clearly before I wound it up. But now what we'll do is we'll fire it up so you can see it in motion, and it is poetry in motion. Again, this example, not for sale, but we can get you in the queue for a new one, so reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase, pricing, and acquisition details.